Welcome back to Morning Live, and right now in studio I'm joined by Jimmy Brand, founder Nexus Tech Innovation, and of course the Daily Tech and Branding. And we want to talk about business growth, growing a business. As a young man or a woman or a young lady out there, you've started something, you're happy with the progress, but now what's the consistency? What's the recipe you can actually put in your business to make sure there's success, consistency, and of course you earn the profits you're expecting? Karibu sana bwana Jimmy.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Now, when you mention Nexus already just sounds tech. You know what I mean? Eh?
Yes.
So it just sounds tech. So, what do you do at Nexus?
Nexus means a link.
Okay.
So when I started the company, I was looking at how do you link business and tech.
Okay.
Because we have a lot of businesses that are moving from, let's say, traditional phase to now what we call now the modern phase, where you have to integrate tech into your operations. So how do you link these businesses? They want to do something and they need to integrate tech in their operations. So that's why we founded Nexus, on the basis that you have this company which is either starting up or it's growing into the next phase, and they don't have a website, they don't have social media accounts. They want to make sales online because online is now becoming quite a big space. Okay. How do you integrate them? How do you help them make sense out of that? That's the basis upon which we founded.
Okay. Now, for a young person who's just started a business, maybe let's give it 3 months old. And, at that time, they always say, give your business at least a year. If you see things are not really moving well, kind of change the tactic or the approach for that matter. So 3 months, it's doing well. Picking, for example, if maybe, let's say, a shop selling shoes. Maybe in a day, 2 sales, like 2 shoes. You get what I mean? 2 pair of shoes, and it's kind of sometimes discouraging. You feel like, I'm not making what I'm supposed to make. Maybe what's the first advice you can give to this young person?
I think one thing that business requires is resilience. When you believe it, it's just about gut feelings and resilience. I believe that I can do this and I'm going to stick by it. Because at times, what happened if Edison gave up on light bulbs? We won't be having these lights here. So you have a lot of people want to try something today and tomorrow it's blooming. At times it takes time. And there are those, and also life is about seasons. Today it's up, today it's down. So just embracing the process, knowing that it's not a function, it's a process. You look at, the other day I was looking at Naiboy. Okay. And I was looking at his story on how his success actually. He says that he started like in 203, was in the game. In 203, I was maybe in class 6. Yeah. Yeah, so why do I want to start today and tomorrow?
You're a young man. In class 6. Anyway.
But then just the fact that it takes time, you have to appreciate the process, you have to continually reinvent yourself, you have to continually re-strategize, and just appreciating time.
Okay. Yes, appreciating time, re-strategizing, kind of just trying to rejuvenate the whole feel about your business. But you see, there are those people who really want quick fix. Like they open a business, they just want quick profits. Maybe from experience, how did you manage to now kind of move on from this notion of, yes, I have a business, I need money, I need profits immediately?
Quick fixes can work. I think, let's say, if you have good strategy, you have finances in place, you have good managers, and you have the access to all those, let's call them resources. I think maybe it can work because you know who you want to target, you know how to get to them, you know how to get to those deals. It could be possible, but then at times you start from you're starting small, you are starting from scarce resources, so you have to really go through a different story. Because let's say someone has a marketing budget of 10 million. Okay. I may not have an access to that, or someone who's starting out may not have an access to that. So you can't be the same. You can't start out today and you have billboards all over Mombasa Road. So you have to go through a different way. But through the processes, I believe they're all possible. So you have to do more networking, you have to do more marketing, you have now to be the brand. So like myself, I spend a lot of days networking, I spend a lot of days trying to convince another person, doing meetings. Okay. Yeah, so the process can be different, but I believe the end game can be the same. Okay.
Now, let's focus on the art of expansion. You know, when you're talking about growing a business, expansion is part of the growth. Now, sometimes your capital was a loan. You have started doing well and you feel like there's a light at the end of the tunnel in this business. Then you go for a top-up for that loan, and now you want expansion. Do you think you still need to go through the processes of now determining why you need expansion? Because now look at your environment. How should someone approach this? Because not so many youths out here are maybe privileged to access credit, but still expansion strategy. How can you go about that?
Scaling up is quite a challenge, but then we have numerous ways. You can, let's say, bring in an investor.
Okay.
If I come here today and the way I look at you, I believe you can inject into Nexus, let's say, $1 million.
Okay.
Why not after this? We can talk that.
Sure,
so that you just have your shares.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can always
don't worry.
you can always give out some of the shares, and someone comes in who pumps in money.
Okay.
They could actively help you in managing, or they can just be quasi-partner. They just pump in money, they sit back, and you continue running the business like you're doing it before.
Okay.
There's also a way where you can find that, let's say, you have, like branding. The other day I was getting, let's say, a deal to do an AGM, brand an AGM for quite a big corporate.
Okay.
So let's say the capital to supply that could be more than 5 million. Maybe I do not have an access to that. You can go to the bank when you have a legitimate LPO and you have all the documentation. You can go to, they are youth-friendly banks.
Okay.
You can go to them and just talk to them. They help you finance the project. Once the money is out, they have their cut, you have your cut, and that just helps you grow. What I don't support is just that taking a loan to grow a business and you don't know what you want to grow. It has really to be quite objective. I want to supply this, and I have this amount of money, I have a deficit of this.
Okay.
You go to a bank, they help you finance, they have their cut, you have your cut. But many times you just want to take a loan to have a fancy office, to get a more fancy car, to maybe add an extra girlfriend, which may not be tenable by the end of the day.
People take loans to add extra girlfriends.
At times in business, someone wants to
really expand,
to really feel
to flex
like
the muscles. I know
I'm doing this. You can feel me. But then that one may not be tenable, because now you go and spend that money, then realize it was not my money.
It's true that.
Even if it was an investor, they can take the entire company, and maybe it's something you've been sweating for a couple of years to make it grow. So really taking something when you need it, you don't just take it because you need a consumption.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, branding. You know, when we talk about branding, for example, let's talk about the online shops. Let's talk about online entities whereby, just an example, let's pick a business like I'm selling human hair. I've opened an Instagram page for the human hair. Now guys can contact me, and on your bio you have all your contacts and everything, and you see it's easy for you to do that. You know, renting a space in town or anywhere else, a stall somewhere else, is expensive. Now it's easy for you to market your products on social media, especially Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. Now, what's the strategy for such people to continue making profits? Because it's so competitive. There must be this edge. There must be that extra thing you're doing to make sure at least your clients are always on toes. Maybe you can run us through that.
I think one of the things is that when you're doing business online, you have to appreciate that you are not just selling, you are creating relationships. And when you create relationships, you want to interact with these people. Someone has a complaint, you want to address that. Because occasionally, yes, business WhatsApp is good. It's also part of where people can sell online.
Sure.
But then I don't like that aspect where you lock people to comment. I really appreciate that someone did something, but someone let them talk. Let me learn from that. But you know, when you lock that feedback point, where someone, maybe you took money from someone and they cannot comment. You called someone, they cannot comment.
Absolutely.
Or maybe you gave a poor quality service, they cannot comment. Or maybe you gave an
And it's happening so much. People are not giving kind of space to comment and feedback.
So I believe that just creating that space to give feedback, to create a relationship, because someone can, even the apps we download most times, someone want to go and see how is it rated. But how can we rate you when we can't see comment on comment? So I believe that just creating a relationship, allowing people to share their feedback. Someone maybe you gave a good product and they're happy, let them share. There people like such to see that you have referrals, because someone will appreciate if a testimonial is good. They want to work with you. Then also another thing in the online space is just knowing who specifically you want to target and where to get them. Instagram, we know the age group we get there. Facebook, we know the age group we get there. Then Twitter, we also know the age group we get there. Then we also have Google. We have pay-per-click, we have Google AdWords, which are also quite effective. So the first thing is just to understand who is my target audience. Then once you get that, we have We have very nice applications that you can use to do your ad. You have an option of sponsoring your ads, even on pay-per-click, so that someone can easily access them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, we have been through so much as far as the youth are concerned, and when you see people out here trying to cry foul about our politicians and unemployment rates, it's been a cliche, man. We've been talking about these things. Statistics are not even with us. It's against us. 70%, 80% of the youth in this country unemployed. People go to school. But you see, when one thinks of a business, already success comes into your mind. Yeah. And once you can't think of losses, you can't think of maybe trying to risk it all. Business success, maybe demystifying this culture. I want to go into business, or I got into a business to make money. You mentioned something interesting. Go into this business to create a relationship. So someone has actually opened a stall somewhere. So what's your advice? Because open a business, have your side hustle, money. Yeah.
So one of the things you started with is about youth unemployment. I believe that's a space that both the government and the private sector has a role to play.
Sure.
Because as a government, we are not happy when every day you hear of this amount of money taken, this amount of money taken.
Billions.
We need structures in place. And as the private sector, we have a lot of young people who are coming from colleges and institutions of higher learning. How do we help them transit into the next process? Because yes, you can find someone who's very smart, they're from the university, but they don't know how to go about anything. Someone is from was doing, let's say, computer science or software engineering, but they don't know which language is selling in the marketplace. What language should I do if I want to sell in the marketplace? How do I do this thing? How do I position myself? Because you can find someone who cannot even express themselves, but they're from a university. So when the private sector helps shape this through internship, not occasionally find people go to internships to cook tea. But you know, when we have really structured,
about it, in fact,
when you have a structured way, we can have interns who come in and they give value and they get value.
Sure.
Yeah, not someone coming to cook tea for 3 months. They can cook tea at their place.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you go to government, you are not allowed to even access what you want to access. So really just restructuring, I think that's key.
Okay.
And then in business, when people go into entrepreneurship, when people look at you, they usually think that it's just a sweet process.
Absolutely.
That you go in today and tomorrow everything is happening and life is happening. But then, just like someone who's working,
sure,
entrepreneurship is just the same.
Okay.
The only thing is that I'd appreciate that there are people who are not good with being an entrepreneur. Not everyone maybe is not modeled to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But if you go to work, can you work? You don't report to work at 8 and you get to Facebook from 8 to 9. Then at 10 you go to have tea for 2 hours. Then you go. So you know, it's not just if someone can give value at any level. Just like an entrepreneur, there are days I wake up at 5, get back home at 12, wake up the following day at 5. So even if you're working, can you take up something to just work?
It's true.
From any level it can work. You must not be an entrepreneur. You must not be working, but just that personal commitment to do your best in anything you choose to do. I think that's key.
Okay. Yeah. Now, with the wave of social media glowiness, where some people even try to emulate others, people fake their lives. You know, we're talking about growing a business, but at the same time, there's some pressure coming in. If you want to grow a business and you see maybe your rival who's doing so well, then you're emulating them, but you know very well your pockets are not able to kind of accommodate that type of lifestyle, or maybe that type of setup, decor, everything, arrangement. And you are under pressure to feel like maybe you're trying to fail here. I'm very sure in your company you have competition and you've assessed what they're doing. But then maybe they're expansive, they have this financial muscle, and you still want to kind of force yourself into that niche. This is the downfall. How should people now try to get out of that cocoon of trying to emulate competition to be like them?
I think on going about that, if you go, let's say, to some place that, let's say, some place where people are poor, or into some place very deep in the ghetto, there's love. And if you go into some posh place in some palace, there's love. So when you just embrace the fact that love just happens, it must not happen for you to have a particular status, it just happens. The same way applies when you are in business. Even if you, let's say, you are in that low space and you just say that I want to work with the low people, it's a mass market and there are a lot of people that you can serve. And then you can also brand your business and say that I'll only be targeting premium clients. They're equally a lot and you can work with them. So yes, it's good to learn from people. I learn a lot from people in my industries. There are people who are doing amazing stuffs, and I dedicate a lot of my time to learn from them. There are people who I can meet. I just go and talk to them and share and learn.
Sure.
And they act as my mentors, and I get to just know what they're doing that I'm not doing, or that I could do to just also change myself. But the fact that there's always a market to serve, the market is too big for an individual to serve, especially in a level where we are thinking global.
Okay.
If they've taken the whole of Nairobi, with the coming of counties, there is Kiambu County. Why did I get to Kiambu or to Busia? If it's not counties, there is West Africa.
Yeah.
Why don't I get to West Africa? So you just have to think global. You don't have to narrow yourself that now I'm in Westlands and this guy is in Westlands.
Yeah.
Maybe he's in Westlands, but most of the clients he's serving are not even from Silicon Valley.
It's true.
So I think just thinking global, don't think locally.
Okay.
Yeah, if I have a neighbor who bought a car yesterday, I don't have to go to Strength and go buy. Think of another person who's doing what you are doing, but is very far from where you are. So I think trying to fit in, especially the social media spaces where young people want to compare yourself with the immediate person. I'm 27, my friend is also 27, he just got married.
Yeah.
I need to marry. Those
So
are
I need to get
nonsense.
married.
We all have our
That's
own races and
everyone has his own journey.
we all have our own races.
Yeah, that's true. Now, a very good initiative over there. Not even initiative, advice over there, because now we see so many people making mistakes because of pressure. Now, growing a business, there's a level of failure whereby you feel like I'm failing, I need to close this. Is there a second chance someone can think and just do something to save this business?
I think business like life comes with a lot of failure. At times, it's just like driving a car. You can be asleep a bit, then you realize you're already on someone's bumper. What do you do?
Yeah.
It's happened.
It happens so
Kubali,
fast. Yeah.
imefanyika. What do I get? How do I get to it next? I've failed a lot. Like this is not my first company. It could be the fifth one.
Sure.
Yeah, but then at times you get into an engagement, realize this is not working.
Yeah.
As an entrepreneur, one of the things you need to have is to see that, is this relationship working?
Sure.
Is this business working? If it's not working, you don't need to stick. I believe life is too short for you to stick in situations that are not working. At times, with just your gut feeling, you can see this is not working, jump.
Wow. So jump to the next.
Yeah, like I've done that because there's a time we were doing something or just in tech and it was not working for me. I just thought of it. It took time off to think.
Okay.
And I saw that there's no need of sticking.
Just move.
Yeah, just change.
Transition.
It's never that serious. But they've known that I'm here, must be here, even if it's an abusive relationship.
Okay. Yeah, I just have to be here. No. And you're looking like a potential relationship advisor. You're giving some examples.
But I believe that relationship and business are just like the same thing.
Hand, by the
because
way.
when you have a startup, it's like you have a kid.
Absolutely.
And just like a mother tenders for a kid, you have to tender for your startup.
Absolutely.
You don't go out there shouting that I have a kid, I have a kid.
Yeah.
Give that kid milk.
Yeah.
Give that kid water,
to
change the diaper.
To grow.
Yeah, you don't go there. Yeah, I'm now. No, that's nonsense. There are a lot of people who want to start something small, then make a lot of noise, and they forget that after giving birth to a kid, you don't go shouting to your neighbors that me, I have a kid. You tender that kid.
It's true. Now, finally, advice to the young people who are trying to venture into business, not even now grow into business. We've dwelled so much on the growth. Now, guys who want to venture into business, because now this is the start. Yes, I need a side hustle. Right now in this world, people are not really looking forward to have like one way of getting income. Someone wants to start a business somewhere. Maybe you can advise someone who is watching right now and wants to dwell into a new type of business.
Someone who wants to start a business first, I'd advise them to contact us to do their website. I just help them through the branding process. Yeah, through our mail info@nexustechinnovations.com.
Okay.
But then, above all, if you want to start, is that you have to know what is it that you want to jump into. And you have to know what are the key resources that are needed. When I was getting into tech, you have to know who are the techies that you can work with in doing this. If you want to get into branding, you cannot say that you want to brand it, say t-shirts, and you don't know even where t-shirts are sourced from. So really doing your basic research to know what I want to do, how can I do it. So that's the first thing. Then now, the partners, who can I partner with to do this? Just open up yourself to talking to people. People want to help. If you can look legitimate in what you want to do, and if you can have a year to listen to them.
Okay.
So look at potential partners you can work with. And I believe it's you just start small. You must not have 100,000 to start, not 500,000 or a million. You can always start small where you are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jimmy Brand, for coming to studio. I've learned very soon. I hope I'll open a business. And wherever you're watching from, I believe you've learned something. And trust me, it's not that hard. You can take a risk, open a business. All these businesses you're seeing out here, these guys took a risk and they're doing well. So thank you so much for coming. And we'll really need you next time to talk about more inspirational angles as far as business growth is concerned. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
All right. Yeah. That's what we had for you right here on Morning Live. My name is Nick Mudimba. I will see you next time. Have yourself a beautiful, beautiful morning.